Did input speed sound okay last time?
Input speed?
I mean, input volume levels.
Yeah. I
Also,
think I ended up.
can that be the cold open, James? Are you just going input speed?
Yes. Hey guys, welcome to the Good Games Podcast. My name is James.
I'm Leo.
I'm Justin.
Today, guys, let's set a world record. We're talking about speedruns, right?
Yeah.
You.
And you know what? It's the most appropriate time for speedruns too, because we just had GDQ, and this Friday we see the release of the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Oh, that's true. Gotta go fast.
This is a time for speed, people.
I thought you meant it was a speed run because Leo just took Benadryl.
That's
and
right.
we have to speed run this podcast before he falls asleep.
It's like the movie Speed. Like, this is like the sequel to Speed 2. And in this version of Speed, we have 1 hour until Leo falls asleep.
All right, we got to make it under 1 hour. Set this.
I mean, does Benadryl hit you guys as hard as it hits me? Like, I definitely
I don't know. I take non-drowsy allergy medicine.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I think if I take Benadryl on an empty stomach, it kicks my ass. But if I take it on a full stomach, not really.
Okay. Well, I did eat dinner, so maybe I'll be all right.
Yeah, maybe I'll be fine. It'll be a slow dissolve.
Only one way to find out. Yeah, speed runs, guys. They're cool. They're fast.
All right, so here's how I wanted to start this episode, in full disclosure. I don't know the first goddamn thing about speedrunning or speedruns. And so...
Like nothing? What do you mean?
I've never watched a single speedrun video in my life.
What? Fuck you. You haven't watched, Games Done Quick?
Nope.
Nothing. Not
nope. No. So...
Wow.
I want you guys to convince me to watch speedrunning.
Okay, yeah, this conversation
right now,
just got interesting. Okay.
As of right now, I have zero interest. So
okay, to me, you have a lot of different types of speedruns, and I guess we can get into this a little bit later, because our top 5 is going to be our top 5 favorite games that we enjoy watching being sped run. Our top 5 speed games, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I guess ever since I don't know, the original Mario, because didn't the original Mario show your clear time on it? I think it did. The original Super Mario
once you finish the level, yeah.
Because that was an actual start to end time.
Yeah, so ever since hey, here's your clear time, see if you can beat it faster, because Super Mario Brothers, when you beat it, implicitly encourages you to replay it and play it faster and faster and faster, right? So ever since, I guess I would argue home consoles, the idea of beating a game as fast as possible has been a thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
But really, I would argue speedrunning has really exploded in the last 10 years.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, because even 10 years ago, speedrunning, you'd be what, speedrunning? What, just beating it as fast as possible? That?
You never beat it as fast as possible, James.
You can tell how much it's evolved. You can tell how much it's evolved with the software they have now that is designed around speedrunning to do things like reading memory and all that kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous now what it's become.
Yeah, getting your splits down and all that stuff so you know where you are in your insanity. Anyway, whatever. That was a brief history of speedrunning, I guess. But the thing
sense.
that really,
I can see where that gradually arrived there. Okay.
The thing that really, before I answer your question on why you should get into speedrunning, the thing that is really in the last 10 years, I would argue has caused this explosion of speedrunning is these. They used to be annual, now they're biannual. Speedrunning. Yeah, now they have them just all the time now. There's 2 major events that are biannual. and they're charity marathons where a bunch of different very talented speedrunners get together and like speed run video games one after the other 24/7 for a week. Just speed run after speed run after speed run after speed run. And they call it Games Done Quick. And it's twice a year. You just missed Awesome Games Done Quick.
Yeah.
That was in January. And then in the July usually is Summer Games Done Quick. So yeah, these I don't know, maybe HEDQ like 2012, 2013, 2014 just kind of exploded. They got like lots of, like gaming media news coverage, lots of people reported on it. It started being a regular like occurrence on the front page of Twitch. You're like, what the fuck? Like, why is Super Mario Brothers 3 the top played game right now? And you click on Mario 3 and it's like, oh, Games Done Quick is on. Ah, nice.
Oh, there's just a random dude playing a game with a crowd of people sitting there behind him.
A couple people on a couch, narrating while he plays. Like, this is weird.
Yeah,
so
it's very odd to watch.
To me, there's a bunch of factors that make a good speedrun. First of all, it helps if you're familiar with the game, because like I've watched games that I don't like. I've watched speedruns of games that I've never played before, and I'm like, cool. Like, I don't know if this is impressive or not. Like, I have no idea how this game works. So like, it helps if you've played the game. At least have a passing knowledge of what is possible. Like what gameplay of the game is supposed to look like, because usually a good speedrunner will be able to like break the game in interesting ways. And that's another reason to watch a speedrun, is like watch all these games being destroyed. Bonus points if the runner has like a good personality and is good at explaining the tricks that he's pulling off. Because like I've watched speedruns where like the runner is just silent, or like, he's like, oh, this trick's really hard. Okay, I got it, nailed it. All right, this next trick's really like. I want to be able to. To me,
that's like, that must be like 80%, because anytime I like tune in for like a minute to try to see what all the hubbub is all about, that's the guy I tune into. He's just staring at the screen blankly.
And that's fair. The subset of people that are good at public speaking, and the subset of people who are that and also are speedrunners is
not a great cross section.
Very small. There's not
and that's half the time that's what the couch guys are
exactly
meant for.
exactly.
That's their job, is to be the commentary.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you watch these marathons, there's usually a couch behind the runner, because some runners who may or may not even be good at explaining their tricks just don't like to talk while they run. They like to focus on what they're doing. So they have a team of they have a team of people behind them explaining the run. But yeah, you get a game you're familiar with, a runner who's got a good personality, who can like break the fucking shit out of the game and explain what he's doing, and is like really, really talented. Like, that to me makes up an excellent speedrun. But also, and I can't wait to get into our like top 5 favorite whatever speed games. But also, there's like, especially, and this is even more in the last like five-ish years, you get like really weird categories of speedruns, because the two most common categories of speedruns are like what they call any %, which is a term that's actually derived from Super Metroid, speedrunning Super Metroid, because at the end, when you complete Super Metroid, it'll show, like Super Mario Brothers, it'll show your clear time, but it'll also show a percentage of a whole of all of the items that you gathered within the game. So it'll be like, you got 22% of the items and beat the game in 6 hours or whatever. So people are like, hey, I don't give a shit about my clear percentage, all I want is the time. So these runs are called any %, because I don't care what the percentage is, I just want to beat the game as fast as possible. Any %. And that term has kind of just been pulled out of Super Metroid and applied widely to games that don't even have clear percentages. So like, if I say Super Mario Brothers any %, like, obviously there's not collectible items in Super Mario Brothers, but if I say any %, I'm just trying to get to the end of the game as fast as possible. So that's one category. Right. The other really popular category is 100%, right? So how fast can I beat Super Metroid, or a game that has collectible items like The Legend of Zelda, for example, get 100% of all the items. So any percent or 100%, the two most popular categories. But there's like weird fucking categories now. Just today, I saw Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
Breath of the Wild, feed every dog percent.
What?
How fast can you find and feed every dog in Breath of the Wild?
Okay. Is
Dark
Ganon
Souls...
considered a dog because he's kind of like got 4 legs at the end?
Good point. No, I don't think so, because I don't think, even if you got food, I don't know how you would feed it to him.
You just throw it at him.
But yeah, like Dark Souls is the game that's become famous for this. It's, put on the, like, I can't remember what the ring's called, but there's a ring that reduces your HP to 1, essentially. And, put on this ring, beat the game, so it's, don't take any damage percent, Yeah. There's you just end up with like really wacky categories. They do in not Super Metroid, but like I'm trying to think of a game that does this a lot. Like Ocarina of Time does like reverse dungeon order or reverse boss order. So in games that have bosses, you beat every boss, but in the reverse order. So you would start with, like, Ganondorf, then you would beat, Shadow Temple, Spirit Temple, then Water Temple, Fire Temple, Forest Temple, and then do all the... Yeah, so you get the idea. And those are really interesting, too, because you have to know how to sequence break the game really hard to do all these things out of order.
And then, like, some of my favorite things that come from it, too, are, like, races. When people speedrun races, those are the best.
Oh shit, yeah. It's like, hey, I bet I can beat this game faster than you can.
Yeah. And
speedrun races, dude.
Yeah, and then you got like glitch, no glitch. You got, what was it, 100% no source, I think it was called, which means like you have to get 100% of all the items, but you don't have to get the items from their source, which was a popular Ocarina of Time one that happened recently, which was nuts, but couldn't even understand it. It's so hard to understand what these guys are doing, man.
Yeah,
it's like they play a game, but yet they're like programming code while playing the game.
Yeah,
and
that's the games that have been around, the really popular games that have been around and are like super like refined. The speedrun is, it's not even about. Like, the execution has become so perfect, so improvements in the game come from finding new ways to break the game.
Yeah.
What are you going to say, Leo?
Well, I don't know. I find it really impressive that these guys can spend this much time and effort kind of perfecting this craft. And from that perspective, they have my respect. But, like... That's a perfect example. Like, Justin was saying, like, you don't even understand what these guys are doing because of, everything that they're breaking and all the complicated stuff they're doing. Like, how is that, like, why, what is mass marketable about this? Like, why are millions of people watching a guy do this thing that's, like, you don't understand,
To be honest, the market is, well, GDQ is probably what really blew it up. But it's really been like Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
People love watching people speedrun and try to speedrun, and that some guys hop on every day and they keep trying to find something new or trying to break their record. And sometimes some people actually find new breaks, and it's like a mind-blowing moment. Like when they figured out how like in Wind Waker HD they could break
barrier skip. Yeah,
they can get the barrier skip, and then like someone later discovered in Wind Waker original, if you kept shooting arrows, even if there were no arrows coming out of your bow, it loaded a shit ton of memory to the point where once you loaded the new, once you walked into the bridge area, there was not enough memory for the barrier to even load, so you could just walk right through.
Well,
and it's like shit like that.
To me, stuff like that is so interesting as a developer, especially. Like, I love the fact that they're finding glitches through gameplay. But, like, I'm happy just hearing those stories. Like, oh, today in GDQ News, someone found this bug. Like, I'm not going to sit there for 6 hours as the guy just randomly tries various things and watch it happen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the audience that watches Games Done Quick, which is like that's a very more digestible thing. Runs are, usually
a self-contained
between and they're between 10 minutes and 30 minutes, so they're very digestible. I think it's the more hardcore audience that like finds their favorite speedrun personalities and like goes to their stream and just watches them grind.
That grind is so unwatchable to me, man. Like someone put it, a friend of ours, we've actually referenced him a lot in this podcast throughout the years. Matt, he went to Games Done Quick recently.
I know, and I wish he would have told me he was there.
Well, it was so funny talking to him like that whole week. I was like, hey, what are you doing now? Like, are you having fun? Yeah, I'm just sitting here playing my Switch, watching another guy, like, just in the crowd, just sitting there playing his own games. Like, I don't know. It's just bizarre to me that, like, I don't know. Yeah,
no, I do find that. I find that, like, when I'm watching GDQ, I'll look at the schedule and I'll see what games I want to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense, I'm not watching the Bomberman speedrun. I'm not watching the 3D Mega Man speedrun. But like I like to watch the ones where it's like I remember playing this game and putting many hours into this game, playing through the whole thing as a kid. And I just go and watch some guy just completely annihilate the game I just played.
It's just like, fuck you! Like, what?
You get so mad, but yet you're so like...
easy.
So it's kind of like self-harm, like, like self-punishment. Like,
in a way, yeah. In a way, it's just like seeing your own game get abused.
Like, oh, you're hurting me so good, speedrunner.
Yeah.
But also, like, as a programmer, Leo, I think you would especially find the Ocarina of Time run that Justin was talking about from this year's Games Done Quick really, really interesting, because they start diving into, like, not only, like, the minutia of how the game is programmed, but like how the N64 works and how the N64 loads memory and like how it handles all these. Yeah.
Which they didn't even play it on the N64 because since the GameCube can handle larger memory inputs, they use the GameCube version.
That's right. Yep.
So that way, because if they did that on N64, it would have crashed.
Yes,
but the GameCube handles it better, so that's why they were doing that, and that's where they can do all those memory glitches. So they use the, I believe it was like the multi-pack disc that you got originally with the GameCube. I had it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I definitely love hearing that kind of thing, that kind of story, that kind of thing. Like, that just sounds cool. Just you telling me that I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, but we didn't explain anything or show the trick. Like, you have to...
Like if you just like point me to an article that talks all about it,
I'll
read that
point you to
article.
The video.
I don't want to watch the whole
Sunday
video,
newspaper.
man. The whole video. It's just like what? It's like 30 minutes to get to that.
Actually, that speed run's pretty long because it's 100%. So it's like
it's 100. That was the 100% no source one.
I am not sitting through an hour. There's no way, man. There's just no way. I got other things to do, and that's maybe that's what it comes down to. Maybe you just kind of like put it on the background while you're doing other things.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And that's pretty much what I did, and I didn't really pay attention to the more like tedious parts where they had to sit there and keep loading memory, like by like kind of shimmying themselves into a spawn point.
Oh, I was spellbound by that because I was like, I know they're doing something, but I don't know what the fuck it is.
But I mean,
they have to do that for a couple minutes. Sometimes they have to do that for like.
There's only a payoff after so many attempts, right? You just why don't you? Okay, here. This is the perfect way for me to watch speedrun content. I'm a League of Legends player. We have people who stream an entire League of Legends game, right? And they do this over and over and over. And these games can get up to like 45 minutes long, but then they'll compile highlights of the most important moments and put it together in like 1 10-minute video.
There's definitely that.
Okay, so I think maybe that's the best way for me to consume that content. Just highlights of the speedrun in like 5 or 10 minutes.
People definitely do that. Just Google Games Done Quick highlights or
I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few clips here and there throughout the years. which has led me to know that like Ocarina of Time is probably the one I would enjoy the most because of
that. That's the one I always tend to enjoy because that one's just seeing the shit they can do with that game. It's
right.
Like James was saying is like that's something, Leo, that if you just sat and kind of watched what they do, it is like almost they're playing a game, but by playing the game, they're programming the game.
It's like gameception.
It's weird.
Yeah.
The game within a game.
It's like beyond broken. It's like they pulverized Ocarina of Time into like a powder, and then they're just snorting the powder. Like
they made Ocarina of Time their bitch. That's pretty much what
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. I mean, whatever. If you have to watch just the highlight video, then sure. But
he just dropped these bugs, and then he did a backflip. He paused, in the right frame, and then now all of a sudden he has the hammer. There you go. It's like, what? How the fuck? What? It's just like
it's so confusing though.
Yeah, it's like it's so confusing. But you look at them do this, like, and he does all this like weird shit, and it's like, oh yeah, by glitching into this wall and then pulling out a bomb, and then he dropped the thing and put a fish there, and he picked the fish back up, and all of a sudden he has like 3 new hearts on his thing. And
I feel like speedrunning is really showcasing just the sheer will and discipline of the nerd. Like.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing is like some of these speedruns, like in order to improve, you just have to like grind the most tedious shit over and over and over.
I mean, that's impressive,
There's a certain type of person who can do that, and it's not me, but I can appreciate like all of the work that goes like that's why I like watching the speedruns, because it's like holy shit.
I don't know, but maybe you just have to find the right game, James. Like, maybe it'll show up.
I have flirted with learning how to speedrun Donkey Kong Country 2. I've learned some of the tricks.
Okay.
I know some things.
Are we gonna see you at GDQ?
No, absolutely fucking not. I was like, you know what? I should find like a super duper obscure weird game that no one would ever speedrun this, and then like learn that game. Just so I could be I got the world record in like educational math blaster 3. Got it.
Speed run the Mario teaches you how to type game. On
PC.
Exactly.
Oregon Trail speed run.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably a thing already.
That's probably a thing.
That probably is a thing. It's probably a terrible speedrun because there's so much RNG in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's yeah. And that's also where like the whole RNG and RNGesus thing came from, because RNG can really fuck up a run so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it came from that. I mean, I knew about RNG.
Yeah, but I mean,
no. But it blew up RNGesus though.
Yeah, RNGesus, man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at PAX, and there was a guy who was like walking around in like cloth, and he had like I don't know, he had like a weird sash, and then he just had a dice on his head, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh my god, he's RNGesus. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's, by the way, that's like the other factor that makes a really good speedrun, is like when the game is somewhat luck dependent. So like the game can kind of troll the player sometimes. So like when the player explains like, oh hey, there's 1 in 5 chance I'll just die here, like, oh, I'm dead, and you're like, ha ha ha, sucks to be you, like that sort of thing. I don't know, but yeah, man,
speedruns are just so fun to watch. And you know what, things like GDQ, they do it for a good cause. They do it for charity, and which is real nice. They have all these sponsorships. A bunch of like new shirts and new merchandise will come out. A bunch of new deals will come out. Mm-hmm. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if soon it becomes such a big event that we'll see like game announcements on it. Do you think it'll ever grow to that level? Yes,
we're getting there. Yeah, I could see that.
And now a world premiere at GDQ.
I can see us getting there. Those events are getting pretty big.
And I love too how like developers have purposely tried to create games that they almost challenge speedrunners, which I think it was known that Breath of the Wild was partly programmed in that way to be a challenge to say like, hey, you know, you can take on Ganon real quick, but you have to get the fuck off this plateau that's almost impossible. And it did prove to be almost impossible for a long time. No one could really figure out a good way of getting off of the plateau. Don't want to leave it off on that one. But then eventually, what was it? They figured out like tree surfing or rock surfing or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
It's just to see.
I feel like, is it just me or is this episode just full of sexual innuendos?
Yeah, no, it is.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Don't go too fast.
Don't go too fast. Gotta get off.
All right.
The Benadryl's kicking in.
This podcast is brought to you by our patrons. If you enjoy our podcast, you can be a patron too. Just go to patreon.com and look up Good Games Cast. Yeah. And you can email us also at goodgamescast@gmail.com. Yeah.
When you become a patron, is it patron or Patreon member?
I don't know.
When you become a patron of the podcast, you get access to our exclusive After Dark content.
Yeah, which is bullshit, by the way. What is our After Dark content? What?
It's the same as our regular content. But
oh, hey.
But sexier.
Maybe we have a vault of secret content. Or
maybe we do.
We don't, and we're lying.
That's the best way to sell something, right? Is to maybe promise exclusive After Dark.
Maybe there's extra content, maybe there isn't. But in any case, we would be grateful if you help us make this podcast.
Yeah, would that be the equivalent of like a loot box? It's like you're buying something, but you don't know what's in it.
Oh, that's true. Maybe we get sued. I don't know.
No, I'm sure there'll be something of worth in this sexy night of nights.
Yep. That's what she said.
All right, let's get to our top 5. Our top 5 favorite speed game. You know what? One of my shit. You know what? One of my top. You know what? One of my favorite speed games is.
What? Wait, are we in top 5 right now?
When two guys put on blindfolds. Together and sit down on a couch, and they both grab the same controller and they play Punch-Out. Have you seen the 2-player 1-controller blindfolded Punch-Out run at this year's Games Done Quick 2020?
Okay,
yeah. So Punch-Out is okay. Punch-Out is like, if you're not familiar, it's a like a boxing game, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's extremely hard because you have to like dodge and punch.
and it's like based on timing. You have to like it's one of those games where you have to read cues of the character you're fighting in order to react properly.
Exactly.
And you have to make sure you dodge the right way and punch the right way, that kind of thing.
Oh, I see. So it's two players, 1 controller.
So somebody's doing the punching and somebody's doing the dodging, and they're two different people.
Wow.
And also, this game is just hard to begin with because there's a lot of random. Talking about RNGesus, there's a lot of random patterns that the fighters can take, your enemies can take, and not every move has an audio cue. So blindfolded Punch-Out runs were thought to be impossible for a very, very long time. Until I guess somebody figured out some secrets about how you can store inputs or some advanced techniques or some nonsense. Anyway, so one of the first blindfolded runs of Punch-Out was completed last year at Games Done Quick, and it was fucking incredible. Yeah, it was just amazing. And he was like, because he got all the way to Mike Tyson, and he's like, oh, Mike Tyson's so crazy random, like there's like a 1 in 10 chance I'll beat him. And then he like beat him, and I was like, that was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this year, they upped it another level 2 players, 1 controller, blindfolded. Which, for the longest time, this game, like I said, this game was thought to be impossible blindfolded. I think it used to be like an amazing accomplishment if you beat like 3 people blindfolded. Because like I think when you get up to like it's like Bald Bull or something like that doesn't have a lot of audio cues, so it's like almost impossible to respond to what he's doing. Anyway, I don't know how they figured it out, but they did, and it's incredible. 2 players, 1 controller, blindfolded Punch-Out. That's my number 5 favorite. Well, I mean, I guess it's not a game, but it's a category of a game. Speaking of weird categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you need to watch that one. You need to watch that one.
Oh, I'll watch that one, actually. I might actually watch that.
Oh, you didn't see that one?
Right now.
I did not see that one, no.
Oh, God. It's incredible.
I gotta watch it. I gotta catch up on a lot of the GDQ. I missed a lot of it, a pretty good chunk of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I got a lot of catching up on that. I guess I'll say my number 5.
Yeah, go for it.
My number 5, that a lot of these are going to be my list is just going to be games that like I enjoyed, that I watched a lot of people just destroy. Sonic Adventure, and I'm going to say Sonic Adventure as both of them. Yeah. Because they kind of both almost play the same. They speedrun them pretty much the same.
There's a lot of out of bounds in that game.
Yeah. Like seeing what they do. And the thing is, like, half the time they're not even, like, in the run animation. They're in the ball animation majority of the time. And they find ways of, like, glitching onto the wall and then jumping over pretty much the entire level and, like, jumping and back. It's like Sonic Pinball, but in Sonic Adventure. And they're bouncing all over the level, and they get to the end in a matter of, like, seconds. And it blows my mind.
Yeah. Gotta go fast.
And, like, yeah. And that's also, like, because those games are designed for the character to be, speedy. They just seeing them just hop all over the level, where it's like when I played it, you sometimes had difficulty doing that like one platform jump. Oh no, he's just balling up the fucking side of the wall and just kind of whoop, 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 and he goes across, and then he jumps, jump, and then you're like, what the fuck? Like, how do they even like see what they're doing? Like, because it's going so fast. Yeah. So like, it's Sonic Adventure. It always like confuses me to watch those.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Leo, I got one for you.
All right.
My number 4 speedrun game. Anyway, my number 4 speedrun game is Super Mario World, but specifically, I want you to look up the AGDQ 2014 TAS of Super Mario World, which, by the way, there's a whole other category of speedruns we haven't even talked about yet, which are tool-assisted speedruns, or TASes, which basically is, no one is playing the game now. You've written a script. Basically, you've written a computer script to play the game as perfectly as possible. So it shows, like, a lot of TASes are like what is theoretically possible. But, like, a script can be so precise at, like, hitting inputs exactly at, every single frame exactly the way they're supposed to be hit. And a lot of times TASes can do things that players can't do.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, watch that 2014 TAS of Super Mario World. Speaking of reprogramming games, they completely reprogram Super Mario World.
With controller input.
Yes, with by the way, this is all it is it's a script that's just executing button presses, right? But it's still just through controller input. But they completely reprogram, like, I don't want to spoil what it does, but at the end it is a completely different game. It is absolutely not Super Mario World anymore.
Yeah.
And even if you look at AGDQ 2015, they do the same thing with Super Mario World. Reprogram it to be something it is not. Yeah. Incredible.
Those were some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just seeing the... You have to watch it. Like, that's something...
Yeah. You just have to watch that.
I found the video. I will watch it tonight. I'm watching it right now, really.
Yeah. Add that to your queue along with blindfolded Punch-Out.
You don't even need commentary. Just watch...
Yeah.
It's funny
just
to see
watch
Mario
and be
just
like
randomly
what?
jumping around, and you're like,
Yeah,
what's going on? Like, what is the thing doing? And then eventually the game just like goes black, and you're like, oh shit, what? And then it comes up, and it's something completely different.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, that's my number 4. The TAS of Super Mario World as seen at AGDQ 2014.
My number 4, because it's recently on the ballot, and again, it was like a game that was purposefully supposed to be challenging towards speedrunning, was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Just because that one's like evolving, and that one evolved so fast. Like within like 2-3 years, they already figured out like some of the best strategies, and like dudes just going and fighting again and completely naked with a mop. It's
Yep.
it's ridiculous. And I feel like it's only going to get more. They don't even do the shrine awakening animations. They found ways to glitch themselves into the elevators of the shrines and go down. They can like clip through the shrines, and so they can skip the entire like tap the the slate on the thing, and then the doors open. And nope. It's but I feel like that game's gonna get super broken over the next couple of years. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Yes. I mean, it's already pretty broken. I can't wait to see how they push the feed all the dogs % category.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of refinement in that category.
Yeah,
That's true. That does sound very appealing to me.
So there are like 3 games that, like, when you think of like speedrunning, there's like the 3 big games are Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, and my number 3, which is Super Metroid. And I specifically, again, want to call attention to AGDQ 2014. I remember watching Games Done Quick 2014, and the finale... And by the way, Super Metroid has become so inexorably tied with Games Done Quick, with the whole, like, save the animals, kill the animals. Like, they're almost... Yeah, anyway, I remember the finale was, as it is a lot of the time, the finale was a Super Metroid race. But it was one of the first Super Metroid races I had seen, and it was like the mood in the room like completely changed from like, yeah, we're like speedrunning games to like, this is some fucking serious shit you're about to see.
Yeah.
This is some like, but they got like commentators. There was 2 commentators that got on, and they sounded like professional. I was like, oh, this is like some esports bullshit right here.
Esports bullshit.
So yeah, they had like 2 commentators. It was a 4-player race, and it was like the commentators did such a good job of like explaining all the tricks, explaining like the history of Super Metroid speedrunning, which is a really fascinating speedrun game because there's so many different routes you can take to beat the game. Because basically the only thing that the game checks is that you've killed... I think there's 3... Yeah, there's 3 bosses. And the only thing the game checks is to see that you've killed the 3 bosses before you're allowed to go into the final boss. So you can kill the 3 bosses in any order, with whatever items you find, with whatever items you don't want to pick up. There's so many different routes and like strategies you can use to beat this game. Because like basically everything is optional as long as you kill those 3 bosses. So yeah, just all of the insane tricks. This race, by the way, specifically the one at AGDQ 2014, is a fantastic race. Like, I think like one guy kind of falls behind, and then there's like 2 guys that are like neck and neck the whole way, and they're like sharing the lead. And then both of them mess up on this really hard trick, and then the 3rd place guy like catches up, and he's in 1st place all of a sudden. And it's like. The end of the race is like amazing. It's so close for like a race, because at the time in 2014, I think the any % category was like 30 something minutes, which I think it's been pushed down by now. But like for 30 something minutes, for these guys to just be like seconds apart, it was a very good race. Yeah.
So that makes me wonder if something like Hollow Knight would be a really good speedrun category.
Oh yeah, Hollow Knight's a very popular speedrun game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, guess what? I had the same one. Super Metroid.
Oh shit!
Oh, there you go.
For all the reasons James just said.
Yeah.
So I'll just go ahead and say my number 2. My number 2, because I know it was a very difficult one, and again, it kind of falls in. Like I said, these are ones that kind of have a personal touch to me. Was Wind Waker, because Wind Waker, for the longest time, was impossible to break. You had to go through almost the entire game to try to get through the barrier, because you had no choice but to break the barrier. So it was like, okay, well, how fast can you get through the game? But it still took pretty much a couple hours to do.
Well, the really tempting thing is that barrier is protecting the end of the game, but you can get to where the barrier is relatively early in the game. So
yeah,
like, it's just kind of taunting you that the end of the game is right there, and there's just this stupid barrier in the way.
Yeah. And now with like all the new, like I mentioned earlier, how there's like people who've created like programming around the game to where you can see, like when you're doing a certain thing, how much memory input is happening, or like what's loading into the game when you do something. Now, because they have that kind of connection that they can make in that kind of view, they found out that they could just sit there and just shoot, like I said, shoot a bunch of arrows to load the memory to the point where when they walk into the next room, because the memory was so loaded and it didn't have a chance to dump it all, it just sacrifices things in the next room, and one of those things being the barrier, which is like a crazy thing to find out, but it's like it goes to show you just how much, like, because it's been years. I would say it's probably roughly almost been I guess it's been like roughly 6 years before they really figured that out, because that was something they found out like 2 years ago, roughly.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that.
And it was
longer ago.
It may have been a little bit longer. I don't know. I don't remember the exact moment, but it was like such a huge thing. Like I remember seeing news articles coming out saying someone finally figured out a way of getting through the barrier.
Skip, they did it.
Like, and there were so many Jape barrier skips too, like where I guess like when you actually do it on stream, when you like record it, there's like mandatory things where you have to make sure you record your controller input, so that way someone can look at the controller input and verify all the movements that the character's making are the same as same inputs that the controller's showing off. But some people like apparently have like done things where like they emulated the game but made slight tweaks and be like, oh look, I got past the barrier. But
that's actually that's something else we didn't really talk about, is like fake speedruns is like a really popular thing. Because of what we described earlier, in order to get good at speedrunning, you just have to grind tedious shit, and some people don't want to have to, or there's like things that happen that are like a 1 in 100 chance, and you just keep doing this thing over and over and over again, and you don't get the luck that you want, so it's like, fuck it, I'll just fake a video. There's been a lot of like so like in order to verify or whatever, in order to make runs more verifiable or legitimate, people will have like controller input recording and all that shit. But there's been I was reading up on like falsified speedruns. There's some like really prominent falsified speedruns. I was like, oh wow, yeah.
And I'm sure it's all probably for the same reason. Someone goes like, oh shit, I did it, and they did it on Twitch, and they get a bunch of subscribers, and they get a bunch of people going, oh look,
exactly,
you did it. It's all for popularity.
Yeah, they just want the fame of like, I pulled this crazy thing off. Yeah.
Liars.
Yeah. No fake barrier skips here. My number 2 is Super Mario 64. One of the games that is like, when you watch it, it just immediately becomes apparent how good somebody is at it, because like fluid movement in this game is so important. So like when you watch someone talented at this game, it just looks incredible the way that they move Mario around.
My favorite is when they do like a backwards jump, and then he just kind of like starts glitching like really fast, but like going backwards. Just that animation in my head just makes me giggle.
Because there's a couple, I think I know what you're talking about. There's there's like endless stairways, In Mario 64, if you remember, like when you try to walk up the stairway just never ends. It's like a illusion, kind of.
Yeah,
but
I remember that.
If you backwards jump with Mario fast enough times in a row, you can glitch your way up the endless staircases. And I think that used to be TAS only. I don't know if it's possible. I think people can do that now, where they glitch their way up the stairway. But yeah, it looks ridiculous. It's like Mario just like, like,
and they're just like flying backwards, like at a like crazy speed.
It's
just, and just even just watching that entire game alone, just watching them do the weird fluid movements and watch it makes you laugh, it makes you cry.
Yeah. Super Mario 64, and again, if you want a specific run to watch, HDQ 2013, one of the like old school best of Mario 64. His name was Siglemic. He's like one of the old school, like, amazing speedrunners. He does 120 stars, I think was the category he ran. He does 120 stars in, like, I don't know, like 45 minutes or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because it's like they do that whole thing where they're getting stars, but they're also, like, managing to accomplish the 100 coin count.
Yeah, exactly.
And do the red star, like...
I might have took an hour off that. It's either 45 minutes or an hour 45 minutes. I can't remember how fast 45 minutes seems really fast for 120 stars, right? I think that's too fast.
Yeah,
I think that's too fast. I think it's an hour 45 minutes. I think I made that up.
You have to deal with like the loading and all that.
Yeah. I think it's 1 hour 45. In any case, it's incredible. What's your one, Justin?
Well, let me ask you: is your one my one?
Yeah, probably. It's Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, Ocarina of Time. Yeah, no.
Hey, that's my one too.
Hey, look at that. Leo had something on the list.
You should really go watch the run from this year, the 100% run by ZFG at this year's Games Done Quick.
That one just
yeah. Like I am very familiar with Ocarina of Time. I am actually even familiar with some of the older speedrunning tricks. Like, I mean, I know about your ISG. I know about your item swapping. Yeah. I know about power sliding, bomb jumping. Like, I know this stuff. But, like, the stuff that they were doing in the year of our Lord 2020, just destroying this game, it's unrecognizable. It's not even Ocarina of Time anymore.
Yeah, you don't know what the game is anymore.
It's incredible. Huh. Absolutely incredible.
Because, like, the guy just goes into a room, dances around, drops a pot of, like, bugs, picks them up, dances around a little bit more, and all of a sudden he has, like, items.
Hey, I got every song in the game now. Hey. And
yeah, like, he would get random items and random songs from doing this shit.
You're because, like, I'm sorry, what? Why? What? How?
Yeah, that's... and, like, the, like, big thing, so the big, I guess, more recent thing was the whole Deku Tree Zelda's Note glitch that they got to where if they held the stick in a certain direction and died, then all of a sudden they got an item. So they held it in another direction. It was I think it was like 6 or 8 different directions you had to hold him in, and each direction gave him a different item. And it didn't make sense.
Yeah,
it didn't make sense, and he falls to the level and dies, and then he comes back up with the fairy, and then he
you
does
wouldn't
it again.
Even believe it. You wouldn't even believe it if you didn't like witness it. You're just like, what?
Yeah, and then they learned ways of like loading rooms multiple times to the point where characters load multiple times. So again, this was 100% no source. So meaning they have to get 100% of the items. That's all dungeon items. That's all hearts, all heart pieces, everything. But no source meaning they don't have to go to the source to get it. They can acquire the items in any way possible.
So like normally you get the bow at the forest temple, right? But like he could just spawn the bow out of thin air, right? Without going to the forest temple.
Yeah.
So like that's what we mean by like you don't have to get them at the source.
Yeah. Like there was one where he glitched out of one of the forest areas, and then like by like shimmying back and forth. He loaded the place where the Skull Kids were, and he kept loading it. That meant that room was loading multiple times. It loaded so much memory to the point where the video feed stopped. But they're like, but don't worry, the game's still playing. The game's still registering that he's playing. It's just no more video feed. And they count how many times he loads the room, then walks up and plays Saria's song pretty much 20 times, and then he gets a piece of heart each time he did that. And that was just a way of just grinding the pieces of hearts that he needed. And
this is wild, man.
It's nuts.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's not even about breaking Ocarina of Time anymore. It's about understanding the hardware that it's running on and breaking that hardware.
Yeah.
Right. Man, it's a whole other level.
Yeah, it's like overloading memories and rewriting memories and changing values. Like there was things where like, oh yeah, if he does this and that, it's taking the value from his bomb count and writing it to his stick count, and then he can take that value and do that. And it's like he's like moving variables around essentially.
Yeah. And this is not tasks. This is like a human man is reprogramming.
This is a person.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you sure that he's human?
True. That's
It
true.
is questionable. I will say
True.
it's questionable.
Yeah.
But
wow. Yeah. I mean, you got me interested. I might go watch that run.
And the funny thing too is they've been speedrunning Ocarina of Time for a long time, since pretty much the beginning.
This is the most refined and well understood game that there is in the speedrunning community, probably.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And they're still finding new ways of doing shit. That's the thing. This has been going on probably close to 10 years, I'm sure. And they're still finding new shit to do. They're still finding new ways. Granted, they're, if they play it on one system versus another, because technically this run was on the GameCube, still, it's nuts that the speed running of this game is still evolving with how long they've been doing it.
Yeah, I wonder where it'll get to. Like, I wonder if 5 years from now they're gonna play like, oh, here's the next OOT speedrun, and the guy just starts whipping out Visual Studio and starts coding the entire game or whatever. Like,
my question is,
that's
if
Leo's
they
ideal
know,
speedrun.
My question is, since they know how to do wrong warping to where they can wrong warp to Ganon from the DQ tree and fight Ganon, like, why couldn't they just wrong warp to the credits?
Like, where do you draw the line? Like, when is it even a game anymore?
That's the point, though. That's the thing.
What's the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal just boot up the console, the credits show up?
Well,
that's it.
I mean, each games community defines their own beginning and end, but as I understand it, they call time when credits start rolling. So, why can't we wrong warp directly into the credits? I don't know.
I think that's the primary purpose behind categories, is because I'm sure there are categories in certain games where you can just completely bullshit it to the point where you can play it in 5 seconds.
Because a lot of the most popular modifier categories are like no out of bounds or like glitchless or like Pokemon. You can do some wild motherfucking shit in Gen 1 Pokemon. Especially with writing, I think you write certain game values to your save data, and then you can like try to load that data back and then load yourself into the end game credits or something like that. So for Gen 1 Pokemon, one of the like popular category modifiers is any % no save glitch or whatever.
Yeah, and we thought we were all fancy, getting the missing no and then using that to like get, what was it, like 99 Master Balls or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man, I did that glitch so many times.
And we thought we were the glitch masters. Nope.
Oh man, I did that glitch all the time. I had all the Master Balls, man.
Oh boy.
Or what was it? You could also replicate the Pokemon or something with it. You could just like create like there was something with that. If you transferred it, but then killed the transfer midway.
Yeah,
you had to have like a buddy or something.
Yeah, if you rip the link cable out halfway through.
Yeah, then all of a sudden it would just cancel it, but your buddy still got it, and then you kept it, so you both could replicate each other's Pokemon.
Yeah, replicate those Mewtwo's, man. Anyway, what do you guys want to endorse?
Oh.
Leo endorses Benadryl.
Benadryl's good. I got an endorsement. So you guys know I got a little baby coming.
Yeah.
Talked about that last episode. And I've been trying to get back in shape a little bit since I'm going to be running around trying to take care of a little one and figure I might as well live.
Gotta care about my health now. Shit.
Right. Gotta take care of myself. So trying to get in shape a little bit and eating better, but wanted to do some exercise, and I like hitting the gym quite a bit. I like doing the lifting thing the last couple of years, but I needed to do kind of more cardio, and I've also had an interest in martial art.
Oh, there you go.
And you guys know I've dabbled a little bit in the judo since college.
Yep.
And judo is a traditional Olympic sport and involves throwing a lot, and that could be very high impact on the joints in the body, especially for a larger dude.
Yeah.
So I was looking for an alternative, and what's very popular these days is called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's also an Olympic sport. It's from the same family as the judo, but its focus is more on grappling and being kind of on the mat already, like on the ground, and wrestling your opponent into submission. And so I went and did my first class.
Oh, how did it go?
And it went very well. Everything on my body hurts. My arm hurts, my legs hurts, my feet hurt, my core, abs hurt, everything hurts. And that's, I think, good, because it means I got a full body workout.
Or you got the shit kicked out of you.
No. It hurts. It's pure workout pain.
Okay.
It's
like
just
crampiness
from working out your whole body.
Yeah.
Now I did get choked out and my arm barred and my leg, my heel hooked. So that was fun. But I mean, it was honestly a very safe place. They all are very careful not to actually choke you to sleep or break your arms or anything like that. You tap when you're starting to feel okay, you get it, and you're done. But I did learn how to choke a guy, so I'm developing my ninja skills.
Nice.
And getting a workout at the same time.
I'm sorry, choking a guy and ninja skills don't go together to me. Because I imagine the front face choking, I'm a ninja. Just choking.
No. See, this was a rear naked attack choke.
Oh, naked.
Yeah, it's called the
rear naked.
It's called the rear naked choke.
A rear naked choke. Yikes.
That's right.
Aichi mama.
Yeah, we were naked in the rear.
Whoa. And getting choked.
Yep. So I endorse Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu,
and rear naked chokes.
There's a gym. There's multiple gyms in probably every city. If you just Google Jiu-Jitsu in your area, you'll find a gym. You can go try a class for free and get a great workout. So go do it.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, good for you. It's definitely that kid will also be a workout. Trust me.
Yeah.
When they reach roughly 18 months, they're fully fledged walking. Whoo boy, will they give you a workout?
Yeah. Well, there's a guy that kind of part of the reason that I decided to do it. There's a guy that I talk with a lot up here, and he has, I think his son is 7 or 8, and they've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 4 years.
Oh wow!
I think so. Basically, as soon as he got old enough to go there with the dad, they just started going together, and the dad's only been doing it 5 to 7 years, so it's not like he's been doing it his whole life or anything.
Yeah.
But I figured maybe this is cool. Maybe I start this now to get ready, and then before you know it, me and little mini-me, since it is a boy, will go work out together and become lethal weapons.
Yeah. The duo, dad and son.
Yeah.
But that does set you up for there's gonna be that moment where the secret your big enemy kills you, and then your son's gonna have to avenge you, and There's gonna be that whole.
Oh
thing,
yeah. There's gonna be the Chinese guys gonna come up to our house. There's gonna be the mirror under the tree, and my son's gonna have to avenge me.
Are
and
you
travel
just reciting the plot of Shenmue?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll have to find the Phoenix Mirror. It's gonna be a whole thing. I'm working on the Phoenix Mirror right now, and I gotta find a tree to put it under.
All right,
Justin, what do you have to endorse?
All right,
Leo is endorsing Shenmue.
Pretty much. Okay, can I do like a nega endorse, endorse something not to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you said another N word there. I was like, excuse me?
Nega, like as an Nega. When you.
Okay. You know it's Black History Month, Justin, all right? So just chill out with the negas, all right?
Well, he's endorsing.
I'm endorsing a word. No. So I wanted to tell people to completely avoid, do not support, and do not watch the Disney live-action remakes that have been coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other day, we have Disney Plus, and I played the quote-unquote live-action, even though it's entirely CG, Lion King.
Oh, that one's terrible.
Oh, my God, is it terrible.
Yeah.
That was
of course, no one's going to watch that.
That was horrible. But they hyped it
that's
up
the worst
so
one by
much.
far.
I remember they gave that movie so much hype and like McDonald's toys and just everywhere, and they were like, "Oh my God!" But it was so bad. How could they make it that bad when it literally modeled such a great movie? Like,
yeah,
what was bad about it?
Okay, the dialogue is rushed.
Let's hear your take.
The scenes are like rushed, or they like cut things out.
The same dialogue as the original, or they add new lines?
There's a
it's
little.
Not exactly
it's not
the same.
exactly the same, but for the most part, it mirrors the original.
Okay, all right.
But they throw in a little bit extra. Which, you know what? The funny thing was, the extra stuff they threw in wasn't that bad. It was them trying to mimic the old movie is where it kind of got bad, because you can tell that they had to sort of, I guess, rush things in or cram things in to the point to fit like
it's not,
proper movie
it's not
time.
animated. Well, it's not flat 2D animation, so the timing isn't the same. You know, even if you had line for line matching dialogue,
Yeah.
it looks weird to have a realistic looking CGI animal move in the same way as a cartoon character.
Yeah, and I understand that, but they still could have done so many things so much better. Like, all right, there's
we should have not copied the movie scene for scene.
yeah. To be honest, if they had made it its own movie in a way and like changed it up a lot, I feel like that movie actually probably would have been good, and it would have been its own thing, and that kind of carried on the legacy of Lion King. But instead, they tried to mimic the old one so much. So, like in particular, there's a scene. There's a scene after Simba and Nala went to the elephant graveyard, almost got killed by the hyenas. Mufasa saves them, right? So then, like, they're walking in the field at night. Mufasa tells Zazu to walk Nala home because he has to have a talk with his son. And that scene, it's such like you can like feel like just from the animations in the original movie, you can feel like the disappointment in Mufasa and Simba kind of walking up all like low and kind of, you can tell like, oh man, this is like such like an emotional scene right now. In the live action remake, that entire scene is their backs. You don't see their faces. You don't really get that feel of disappointment. It's just the entire dialogue that they do while you're looking at their backs. And there's like a kind of a sunset, I guess that's what they were going for, but it conveyed nothing. You didn't get that same emotional feel, like you didn't feel that same like drama happening, and it just
they missed it.
Yeah,
right. I mean, here's the thing with the Disney live action remakes. They're trending, and they're doing new ones every couple of years. I think they're still learning what it is that people love about the original movies with these remakes, like especially because they're moving it into like a not new medium, but a new style.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of practice there's a sweet spot. Like, you can't just copy the movie, and that's I think the lesson learned with Lion King, which I think I've been saying, with all of the movies. We can't just copy the old movie because no one wants that. It's the same thing we've talked about with Final Fantasy VII. Like, maybe there's a specific audience for that, but a majority of people would like to see something a little bit new, a little bit different.
Yeah.
So if you try to copy it, it's not going to work. You also can't go crazy with new stuff and have it just be a completely different movie because then it's just not true to the kind of the original story. So there's a sweet spot that I think they have to hit of, having the similar scenes or similar like plot points or I don't know, even specific moments or whatever, but then also introducing the one I think that's done it the best so far is the new Aladdin. So would you say don't watch the new Aladdin too? Like just don't.
That's
watch
the only one I have not watched. I've kind of been watching the one. I've been kind of catching up on all the ones.
All right, I would love to know your opinion on the new Aladdin.
Okay.
And then I'd like to revisit this thought of not watching it.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll watch the new Aladdin and we'll revisit.
By the way, have you guys been paying attention to what's been coming out with the Final Fantasy VII remake? I know we're going to talk about this in a future episode, but like, as far as like adding new stuff,
right?
Without like completely just remaking the original. Anyway, I've been super impressed with all of the marketing for that game so far. I think they're so far so good.
Okay,
they're on their way to hitting that sweet spot. Certainly, yeah. My only issue, as you know, is that I want all of it at once.
Right.
Not piecemeal.
True. Yeah. That is a concern that we'll still be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake in the year 2040.
Yeah.
I am going to endorse being prepared for segments on a podcast. I'm going to endorse trying something new. Just in general, just try something new. Just try some new food. Try watching a different type of movie you wouldn't normally watch. Listen to some new music. Maybe try.
I always say learn a new hobby.
Learn a new hobby. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, try something. Try something you wouldn't normally try. That is my endorsement. Just try something new.
Have you tried something new, James?
No.
Okay. No. I was trying to think of a good. No, I'm just saying in general, just do it.
Just to elaborate a little bit on that, I do like that idea in general to try new things.
Just,
I like
in general.
You guys know this about me. I love to learn. I love to try new things. I have a bajillion different, I guess, hobbies at the same time, just because I jump around to what interests me and what I can. And I think I've learned over the years what drives that for me is the number one thing I love to do is learn. Like I love to just learn, new things. I love to be like kind of challenge myself. There's a quote I have. I think it's like on my LinkedIn. It's like, if there's one thing I am, it's a bottomless pit, an endless vessel, an eternally thirsty seeker of knowledge. And that's kind of how I live my life. So it's been good for me.
Shit.
It's led me to a very happy life, constantly learning and bettering myself. So yeah, I back your endorsement.
There
sir.
you go.
Yeah.
You did my endorsement better than I did.
There you go.
Yeah. I was trying in that time to desperately think of something new that I've tried, and
Well, you recently contacted me about maybe picking up an electric drum kit for
That's true. I am trying
for one of our future
trying to pick up an electric drum kit, but there's a very specific reason I'm doing that though, and that's
not a new reason.
Yeah, it's not a new reason.
That's to go back to an old reason.
No,
it's a very
an old reason. but you could use it as an opportunity, perhaps.
That's
to,
true. That's true. You know what? I've been watching a lot of like drum videos and like because I was like, you know, what should I be? You know, I was Googling like what to look for when buying a new electric drum kit, and now YouTube now YouTube just thinks that I'm really interested in drumming. So YouTube is just like, oh, here's all these drumming videos, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
So I've been watching.
I think you would be a very solid drummer. I think you're always, you know, picking up on the beat and the tempo on songs very well. We've done our car road trip jam out sessions on the steering wheel. You know, I know. Yeah. So I think you'd do good. You know, I think you owe it to Neil Peart, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say
to get on the drums.
All right,
for his honor.
Doing it for Neil. Speaking of which, this is a good segue. Our next episode is going to be about rhythm games.
That's right.
Specifically, Guitar Hero Rock Band and our favorite rhythm games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look forward to that.
Very excited
episode.
about that one.
Anything else? You want to wrap this up? You want to call time on this episode?
Let's wrap this up before all of the splits and the real fast things make us get off.
The Benadryl's really kicking in now.
All right, I'm calling time.
I'm calling
time.
Time. There's so many sexual innuendos. I have to reference them.
All right. All right. Thanks for joining us on this podcast. Fuck, we didn't live stream this, did we? Fuck.
No, I made a conscious decision not to live stream because I look like I'm dripping all over my shirt and stuff. Like,
oh.
No. Well, if you would have told me, you didn't have to do camera, and I could have done it.
Ah, shit. Why didn't I?
Okay.
Fuck. I'm dumb. I don't know. Whatever. Well, next time
also,
all of us.
We're new at this, if you can't tell.
Okay, but also this wasn't the best game I think to do it or topic because usually we have a game and you can say that you're streaming that game and. That's why we had people that were familiar with that game join us on the stream.
All right, next week we're going to be streaming some Guitar Hero.
Yeah, so maybe people hop in for that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. For the Good Games podcast, I'm James.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Justin.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
Goodbye. Mario just like